You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you. Dre Baldwin, workonmygame.com. Why Michael Jordan's better than LeBron James? Here's the basis of this whole argument. And when I say argument, I don't mean me arguing with you, but the whole conversation that everyone has. It's the objective of the game of basketball, the objective of any sport. And the great thing about sports is the objective is to win. What makes sports great as compared to, kind of sort of politics, not really politics, but let's say art, any kind of art. So like drawing pictures, selling your museum pieces, selling your architecture, making music. What makes sports, what I like about sports more than those other things, more than art, is that there's a scoreboard. And the scoreboard is right up there on the wall for everybody to see, or right there on the screen for everybody to look at. The scoreboard is completely objective. There's not more than one aim for people to go for. See, in art, for example, you could be a musician, and one musician can say they're the best because they sold the most records, but another musician could say, well, look, it ain't about selling records to me. To me, it's about having a deep connection with a certain group of people, and that might not be a million people. It might be 10,000, but I'm good with that 10,000, and neither one of them is right or wrong. There's no scoreboard in music. There's a scoreboard in sports. And no player in any sport can say, well, look, we didn't win the game, but I won because of this, this, and this. That doesn't happen in sports. That's what I like about sports. It's black and white, is analytical, is straight up. There's no gray area. So, all that being said, basketball, we know also, is not a solo sport. It's a 5-on-5 sport. The objective of the game, there's only one objective in basketball, only one. And that's for your team, whatever team you're on, to win more games than all the other teams involved in the league, the tournament, the season, whatever you're involved in. Your team wins more games than all the other teams. At the end, you get a ceremony, you get a trophy, and they give you a title, champion. That's the objective of the game. That's it. So when we look at somebody like Mike and LeBron and Kobe, I guess that's the current conversation, those three guys, Jordan is head and shoulders above both of those guys for a couple of reasons. One, because this is not, let's just eliminate the straw man argument that some people will throw out foolishly. I think we're past it, but just in case somebody says, well, is Robert Horry better than Charles Barkley because he got more rings, or is Steve Kerr better than Karl Malone? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the leading guy. You're the guy. All right, so Jordan's the guy, LeBron's the guy, Kobe's the guy. Thing with Kobe that is kind of hard with Kobe is that he wasn't the guy for 3 of his championships. He was right there, but he wasn't the guy. Shaq was the guy. Then he won 2 without Shaq. Then you also could throw Bill Russell in the conversation, but I don't even put Bill Russell in the same conversation simply because I didn't watch Bill Russell play, and he played in an era that was so different from the era that these other guys played in. The Jordan era and the Kobe LeBron era was a little bit different also, but they weren't that much different. The Bill Russell era was very different because it was decades earlier. It wasn't even as many teams in the league, and I didn't see Bill Russell play, so I can't really make a conversation about Bill Russell, so I can't go that deep. I'm going with these 3, just so all that's clear. With LeBron James, those people who think LeBron or Kobe might be better than Jordan, they may lay out some statistical thing. I heard with LeBron, for example, you could say LeBron has a longer, more impressive body of work. When you add up everything he's done in aggregate, you could compare it to Mike, and you might be able to say that LeBron's better than Mike by adding up all the stats in aggregate. I'm not looking at the stats right now, but I'm not going to argue. It's a black and white thing, kind of, sort of, depending on how you want to look at it, and maybe you're right. So let's just give you that. You look at somebody like Kobe's stats, I don't think Kobe's stats surpass Mike's, even though he played, I think, many more seasons than Michael Jordan. I don't think his surpass. What's the thing about Kobe? I heard Gilbert Arenas say something like this. Gilbert Arenas likes to go into, Kobe has more skill, and then he'll just start talking about how Kobe can jump higher and how he can shoot from further, and that's very subjective. It's very opinion based. So I'm not going there either. I'm not going off that either, because as I said at the top of this video, the great thing about sports is that it's black and white. There's only one scoreboard. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a story. There's only one fact. That the game is decided by who has more points at the end. The game doesn't end until somebody has more points. And every season, the team that's doing the most winning win it during the regular season, then you get your position for the playoffs, and who does the most winning in the playoffs is the team that wins the championship. That's just a stone cold fact. There's no opinion that can change that. There's nothing subjective that can change that fact. Michael Jordan did it 6 times and he never lost. LeBron's been to the finals many times, and this is the argument that people can make for LeBron. So I'm not even putting Kobe in the rest of this conversation, okay? LeBron's been to the finals many times, but he didn't win. He got to the doorstep, but he didn't win. Let's remember the object of the game, because people will say things like, and even when I like LeBron James, I'm a fan of LeBron, so sometimes I hear people try to trash LeBron. They say, well, only reason he went to the finals so many times, he was playing in the Eastern Conference. So I'm like, he was playing in the Eastern Conference of the best basketball league in the whole world. And he took his team to the finals 8 years straight. Name another player who did it. So if it was so easy, why is he the only guy who did it? So let's not discount what somebody's doing at the highest possible level of their job. Like this guy's at the top job in the world when it comes to playing ball. He took his team to the doorstep of the championship 8 years straight. No one else has done that. So we're not going to discredit him for doing that. Now, and I'm not discrediting him either when I say, yes, he took his team to the finals 8 years straight, but he didn't win. How many did he win? He won 2 in Miami, lost 2 in Miami. 1 year because he kind of folded. Another year because they just got their ass kicked. Then he went to, with Cleveland, he went to the finals 4 years straight. The first year, I believe if they hadn't had those injuries to Kyrie and Kevin Love, they probably would have beat the Warriors in 2015, but they didn't. 2016, nobody thought they were going to win, and they beat them. And in 2017, it was just a blowout. Wasn't even a game. No, actually, 2017, the games were good. The Warriors beat them 4-1, but the games were all pretty good games. They just lost because of the KD effect. I think the Cavs would have beat them had KD not been on the team, but he was on the team. They lost. In 2018, it wasn't even a matchup. It was just a blowout. I don't think anyone thought the Cavs had a chance in 2018, and they didn't. They got their ass kicked. So, yes, going to the finals is impressive, but you got to win. The object of the game, people, is always remember is to win. I heard James Harden. I didn't hear the whole interview, but there was a clip that came out where he was saying he didn't go to the NBA postseason awards event because he knew he wasn't going to win an MVP because there was a narrative against him and, whatever. The way it was framed, the way the quote came out, it sounded like James Harden was kind of disappointed that he didn't win MVP because he believes statistically that he deserved the MVP award. But here's the thing about the MVP award, people. It's based on people's opinions. It's based on subjectivity. It's based on how this guy and that guy and all these other people think about who was the best player, most valuable. Value is a matter of opinion. The word itself is a matter of opinion. Winning and losing, when there's a scoreboard, is not based on opinion. It's based on objectivity. You got 90 points, I got 89, that means you won. If I got 110, you got 107, I won, period. No opinion can change that fact. I heard Bill Russell say, to mention Bill Russell, people asked him, what was his motivation to keep winning the way that he did? He got 11 championships, winning with the Boston Celtics. What was your motivation to win so many championships, Bill? And Bill Russell said this, and I want all y'all to remember this, especially those of you who may be in any situation in life, and I think all situations in life where you have a little bit of objectivity and subjectivity, they're mixed in together. Because you look at something like art, like I said, objectively, you might sell a certain number of records, or I guess now it's like get a certain number of streams or have a certain number of fans or followers. Those are objective. People can see the numbers and say, all right, this is the number that you got. And then it's subjective. You can say, well, look, you might have more X than me, more followers than me, or more streams than me, but I got more of this, or I had this, and there's all this back and forth that gets all mixed up. This is what Bill Russell said. He said, early in my basketball career, I realized that all of these awards, like the MVP, Rookie of the Year, what's the other one? Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. I realized that all of these awards are subjective. They're based on people's opinions. So if somebody doesn't like you on a personal level, or for whatever reason, or maybe they don't want to see a black guy win, or they're just a big fan of the other guy, whoever you might be in a race with, they're just not going to vote for you because they're just not feeling you. So it's all based on opinion. And Bill Russell said, I'm not trying to win the opinion competition. I realized that if I just go out and win as many games as possible, then those wins will go down in the record books as historical fact, and it can't be changed by anybody's opinion. And I think Bill Russell, attributing that quote to Bill Russell, and I paraphrase it a little bit, but I think his actions prove that point out. Would you agree? So here's the thing with Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. I'm impressed by the fact that LeBron took his team to the finals. I'm impressed by the body of work that he's put together, and he's still not done. At least as of this recording, he still has more basketball to be played. The fact is, winning the game is what we go off of. We go off of who's holding that trophy up and in. Was it crazy that KD ended up going to the Warriors? Yes. Was it unfortunate that Kyrie and Kevin Love both ended up injured by the time we got halfway through the 2015 NBA Finals? Absolutely yes. Was it LeBron's fault the Miami Heat failed to replenish the roster as they started to get older and Dwayne Wade started breaking down around him in Miami? Yes. All of those things kind of worked against LeBron. But LeBron was good enough to get him to the finals anyway with all those teams. There's only one year I will put it on him. That was 2011 when he folded up against the Dallas Mavericks, whatever the hell that was. But he didn't win. Michael Jordan won. Every single time he went to the finals, he won. Whatever that situation was with his team, he had things with his team. His teams got old. He had coaching issues. They had management issues. There were times where teammates on his team just didn't show up the way that maybe he hoped they would show up, but nobody talks about those things. You know why? Because he won anyway. So nobody cares. Nobody needs to know about those things. And for all of you out there, if you happen to be, you could be an athlete, you could be a musician, you could be a librarian, you could be a school teacher, anywhere, anything that you do, if there's a scoreboard that matters to you, whatever that scoreboard is for you. For an artist, for example, there are many different scoreboards. So whichever one matters the most to you, understand that you might not always have opinion in your favor. And any of you follow pop culture, you can see that somebody could be the hottest person out there today and everybody's in favor with them. Everybody's in favor of them and co-signing everything they say and do, and just making everything they do seem like the greatest thing in the world. But then 6 months later, that same person could be getting the most hate out of everybody. So you shouldn't base your wins and losses, whatever you consider a win or a loss, on what is everybody saying about me? What's everybody's opinion of me? Because opinions can sway very quickly. And public opinion, you can't control it. Well, you can't control it to some point, but you can't always control it. You could always control what's on that scoreboard. So figure out, this is what I want you to do with all this. Now that I've explained why Mike is better than LeBron, I think I've explained that pretty clearly, that because he won more often and a higher percentage of times that he had a chance, he was on the doorstep, he closed the deal. Just getting to the doorstep is not the deal. The deal is getting in the house and getting the trophy. And LeBron has failed to do that several times. Mike never failed. That's just a fact. He never failed once he got to the doorstep. Let's put it that way. He got put out in the playoffs many times, but he didn't fail. When he got to the doorstep, he always got in the house and he always walked out with the trophy, straight up, period. So you need to figure out what your scoreboard is. What's the objective scoreboard for you? Not for the audience, not for the fans, not for the critics, not for your followers, none of that. What's the objective scoreboard for you that you can say, all right, well, look, I might not win this, or these 20 things, but this one thing right here, this is what I'm going to focus on. Even if you're losing right now, like Michael Jordan was losing for some years, he was losing. There were times that he wasn't always winning, but he knew what his scoreboard was. And there was never a doubt what the scoreboard was. When James Harden, and this is the point I wanted to make about James Harden, was that he was talking like he didn't get the MVP awards. He felt like there was a narrative against him. But yo, James Harden, why are you talking about the MVP award when your team that was supposedly built specifically to beat the Golden State Warriors, y'all failed to beat them even when they didn't have Kevin Durant? Y'all had a chance to beat them. Didn't they have home court advantage? I know they had a home game. When KD was out, they had a home game and they lost that home game, didn't win that series. 2 years in a row, they lost to the Golden State Warriors. Like, yo, if you want to complain about something, complain about that. But he can't complain about that because he was on the court. And that's the black and white thing that everybody's going to remember. Nobody's going to look back on the past NBA season and say, well, this is the year that James Harden got robbed of the MVP award. People ain't even talking about that. You know what people are going to talk about this year, about this season, 20 years from now? They're going to call it, this is the year that Kawhi Leonard was dominating the NBA and arguably made himself the best player in the league. Why? Because he took his team to the championship and won. That's the thing people are going to talk about. We don't remember all these details, who got snubbed and how opinion was against this guy and that guy. Look, Michael Jordan got snubbed for the MVP award a couple times. Charles Barkley got it over him in '93. And then Jordan met Barkley in the finals. You know what happened that year? Look it up. 97. Karl Malone got the MVP award. And everybody was like, how did Karl Malone get the MVP over Jordan? Jordan was clearly the MVP, or at least a lot of people thought. But Jordan didn't complain about it. He didn't go on a media tour complaining how he didn't get the MVP award. Jordan knew what the scoreboard was. The scoreboard ain't about who wins the MVP, because the scoreboard is based, again, on objectivity. It's not based on opinion. It's based on facts. The fact is, only one team gets the trophy. 1997, the Bulls met the Utah Jazz in the finals. What happened? Look it up. That's what matters. So it didn't sit right with me to hear James Harden saying anything about the MVP trophy and it was a quote. I seen it on Instagram. I did not hear the whole interview, but just the fact that he said those words, and it was a quote that he said it, that when there's a certain narrative against you, and something that he said, something about a narrative that basically said that they had already decided that James wouldn't get it and Giannis would get it. Like, yo, who the fuck cares? What about when y'all played against the Golden State Warriors? Ain't no narrative. Scoreboards don't have narratives. This is the thing that I want y'all to understand, especially you athletes out there. Scoreboards don't have narratives. So when you say, yo, a coach is hating on me, or my teammates ain't giving me the ball, or something is based on somebody's opinion is working against you, remember this phrase: scoreboards do not have narratives. Scoreboards don't have opinions. Scoreboards don't have feelings. So if you win on that scoreboard, you just focus on winning on the scoreboard. It doesn't matter what the fans say. It don't matter what a coach thinks. It doesn't matter even what one of your teammates or opponents or the biggest hater in the world who's against you and wants to see you lose. Doesn't matter what any of them think, say, or do, as long as you focus on that scoreboard. Because if the score is right at the end of that game, they got to hand you the trophy. They can hate you. All right, they could want you to die. They could dislike everything about your whole existence. If you got more points than the other team at the end of the game on that scoreboard, they gotta hand you the trophy. And that's what it is. I see these days, and I don't know, maybe I have an old school mentality. I don't consider myself to be old school, but maybe I do. You can tell me. You millennials and Gen Zers who are watching this video, you can let me know. These days, I see a lot of athletes who seem to be focused on anything other than the win, because I believe that some of them have decided that they're not going to get the win. So let me focus on something else so I can look like I'm winning, because I know I'm not going to get the objective win that's up on that scoreboard. Because only one winner. At the end of the NBA season, only one winner. Only one team wins the championship. Everybody can't win. So if you don't win that championship, are you looking at it like, all right, I ain't win the championship, so well, look, I did this, or I got this contract, or I scored this many points, or I got this kind of stats. Like, yo, all of that's a means to an end, folks. And this is for anything that you do. I'm talking about basketball. This applies to anything. You got to decide. If you're in something that doesn't have a scoreboard and a trophy like basketball or football or baseball, you got to decide, what's the scoreboard for me? What's my trophy? And how do I know that I won? You got to get clear on that. So every day when you go to work, you know what you're working on, and you know why you're working on it, and you know why, if I'm doing this, how is this leading me to winning my trophy? If you can't answer that question, then you need to step back and analyze what the hell you're doing and why you're doing it. In sports, it's clear. That's what I said, what I love about sport. It's clear, and there's no confusion in sports. So I see a lot of athletes that seem to want to focus on anything other than that scoreboard, because I believe, this is just my assumption, I could be wrong, and we'll never know because you can't read people's minds, but I believe that a lot of athletes have decided that they're not going to win or they don't want to go through what it would take to win, whether that means getting on a team with somebody who's better than them, or doing a little bit more hard work, or just playing the game a different way that will lead to more winning, instead of them getting the stats and the fans and the accolades and whatever's going to get them into the Hall of Fame or get them a highlight. I think many athletes just have decided unconsciously, some of them consciously, that all right, whatever it's going to take for me to actually win on the scoreboard, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to focus on doing these other things that make me look like I'm a success, even though the ultimate success is not going to come my way. Just my opinion. That's just my opinion from what I've seen from a lot of athletes. But one thing I heard Giannis say this, the Greek Freak. It was before last season, before his MVP season. In the preseason or the off season, he had been doing an interview, and someone was asking him about, how you get better and how you've improved all these years in the NBA, and you put up these stats. You made the All-Star game, and Kobe challenged you to win the MVP award. Kobe challenged Giannis to win the MVP the season before he won the MVP. The season before he didn't win it, then the next year he finally won it. And Giannis said to the interviewer, whoever was asking him, he said, "Look, all those things are cool, but the object of the game is to win. So none of these other things matter. The All-Star game, the MVP, how many points I had, getting a highlight, none of those things matter if we don't win, because the object of the game is to win." And I've heard very few athletes talk about that. I hear athletes talking about getting snubbed for the All-Star game. I hear athletes talking about getting paid I hear athletes talking about, I need to be on a team where I can win because of my legacy. I hear athletes talking about, getting snubbed for a trophy, not getting voted for, complaining about a narrative. Athletes saying that I'm more than an athlete because for whatever reason they don't want to be known as an athlete, even though that's the only reason we know their name, because they play sports. I hear athletes talking about all these other things. Very rarely. He was the only guy I've heard in a long time say, look, the object of the game is winning. The only reason I'm here is to win. The last guy I heard say it, who was an active, recent guy, was Kobe. That's what Kobe would say. He would say, look, the object of the game is winning. Like, it's cool if I make All-Star and I score this many points and get an MVP or whatever, but the object of the game, the only reason I do this is to win games. What other player in the league have you heard actually say that in a quote that's the only thing I'm caring about? It's not about the stats, not about any of these other things. Stats, MVPs, the things that get a lot of fans, casual fans, excited about a player that have nothing, that I won't say have nothing to do with winning, but they're not winning. They're subjective things like statistics and awards and all-star games and how many fans like you and followers and all this bullshit. How many players have you heard just say, look, those things are cool to have, but I don't care about those because we're not winning. I want to win the game. I want to be somewhere where I can actually win games. I don't know. But anyway, I've said all of that to support my point that because it's about winning, because it's about what's on that scoreboard, Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James. And I'm not sure, given LeBron is still playing, but given how much time we can reasonably expect LeBron to keep playing, let's say he plays till he's 40, 42, maybe he's an athletic freak, he plays for another 8 years or whatever. I'm not sure LeBron can catch Mike and make up for all the times he's got to the doorstep and lost. I'm not sure he can do it. But you tell me what you think. Do you think there's a chance? First of all, do you think, based on my criteria, and my criteria is not subjective, based on my criteria, this is the question, am I wrong or right that LeBron is not better than Jordan? That Jordan is better than LeBron, based on the scoreboard, winning the championship. That's what matters, as the guy. Am I right or am I wrong about Jordan being better than LeBron? And number two, if you believe I'm right that Jordan's better than LeBron, can LeBron catch up? Is it possible he can catch up? What would he have to do to catch up? Again, it's not about how many stats he accumulates or MVPs or all-star games or if he opens 20 more schools or he does all these more than an athlete things. I'm talking about what he does as an athlete, because the only reason we give a fuck what LeBron James is doing is because he's LeBron James, the great basketball player. If he had never played basketball, all the stuff he's doing off the court, nobody would care, nobody would know, even though he was still doing it. That's just a fact. So, let's keep the main thing here. And you tell me, am I right? Jordan's better than LeBron, based on my criteria. And can LeBron catch Jordan? Or if I'm wrong, why am I wrong? Work on your game. Dre all day.